The News Today with Lucy Aharish.
Good evening and welcome to the news today. Clashes erupted west of the Hungarian capital on Budapest after police tried to force migrants off a train at a refugee camp. The train left Budapest hours after police let migrants into the railway station following a two-day standoff. Meanwhile, European leaders continue to sharply disagree over how to deal with the crisis, with the Hungarian premier pointing a finger directly at Germany. Ayman Sikseck asks, why Germany?
Budapest this week. Some of these migrants who arrived here from Syria know very little English, but they all have one word in mind.
Germany! Germany! Germany!
Germany, the desired destination of nearly every migrant arriving on European shores. Why? It is now the only country who will have them regardless of where they first arrived in Europe, in contrast to European Union laws. Established in 2013, the Dublin regulations stipulate that migrants who arrive in Europe must register in the first country they arrive in to prevent internal migration in the continent. Migrants who are apprehended in a different European country after registration are returned as economic migrants to the first European country where they were recorded. But Germany announced it will continue to accept Syrians even if the country was not their first destination, making several other EU countries a gateway to Berlin. Due to its vicinity to Germany, Hungary has become one prime example.
The problem is not a European problem. The problem is a German problem. Nobody would like to stay in Hungary, neither in Slovakia, nor Poland, nor Estonia. All of them would like to go to Germany.
All would like to go to Germany, and Budapest finally gave in. Migrants who had been waiting in the Hungarian capital's train stations with no permission to board the train were allowed to leave for Germany yesterday. After days of waiting, chaos ensued.
Yesterday, Ms. Merkel says you have to register here in Hungary to allow us to cross the border into Germany. But Austria say no, we cannot, Syrian people not allowed to cross. What we have to do?
Chancellor Angela Merkel continued today to make clear statements about Germany's commitment to providing refuge to the migrants.
There is a duty to provide protection for people who need it, and the Geneva Convention does not only apply to Germany, but also to every European member state.
But what's waiting for Basil and his family in Germany? Part of the attraction for those fleeing war-torn countries such as Syria is the German government's generous laws concerning migrant welfare. According to the country's labor minister, between 240,000 and 460,000 migrants will be entitled to social benefits in 2016. The extra costs incurred to the government for the year range between 1.8 and 3.3 billion euros. Each migrant will also receive a monthly stipend and a work permit after 3 months in Germany. And as the minister explained on Thursday, Germany is already feeling the financial burden.
We need some more fairness when it comes to the question whom is able to invite also refugees. Even when they come first to Germany, we have to distribute them more fair.
The minister went on to say that Germany expects some 800,000 asylum seekers this year alone, and the numbers are creating division in the German public. While Germany is encouraging aid efforts for migrants across Europe, a report by the German Domestic Intelligence Service shows that pro-nationalist attacks against migrants rose by 20% last year, warning of a growing anger at the migrant influx by right-wing extremists in the country. Another reason the migrant crisis has become a moral issue for Germany.
And with me on the phone right now is Yehudit Lonyai Sagiv, volunteer at Migrant Aid, is at Budapest railway station. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining me.
Good evening. Hi.
So, Yehudit, can you describe for me what is the current situation? What are you seeing right now in front of you?
Right now, I'm in the healthcare room. It's a small center, let's call it like this. There are a couple of doctors and nurses and helpers, volunteers that are taking care of sick patients. of all kinds of sickness. We have flu, we have injured legs, a lot. And outside of this room, there are plenty of people, very nice people, playing around the children, and they are sitting on the floor. Everyone is feeling fine. There are a lot of them. Today what happened is they opened the train station, which was closed for the last 2 days, and the immigrants wanted to leave to Germany or to Austria, and they didn't let them. Today they opened the train station in the morning, and all the people went inside, jumped on the train. It was a horrible view. They told them that they can take the train to Austria, but actually they took them off at Bicske, which is like 30, 40 kilometers from Budapest. And they are waiting there to take them to somewhere else, because they told them they can't go to Germany.
Yehudit, I believe that you are spending a lot of hours with the migrants. What are they telling you? What are the stories that you are hearing a lot from them?
What, the stories?
Yes.
Well, they are all asylum seekers. They are trying to escape this horrible situation in their own country. Most of them are Syrians. That, as we all know, it's a horrible war with the ISIS and also their own government, Assad. And there are horrible stories, people that their whole family were killed by ISIS. They were injured. People are coming pregnant with very small children. They come by foot, thousands of kilometers. They cross the fence, which our government built, and it's with razor blades all over. And some of them get here injured, need medical care. Horrible stories, all kinds.
Yes.
All kinds.
Yehudit, thank you very, very much for this conversation with us. Thank you. And with me right now is correspondent Ayman Sikseck. Good evening.
Good evening, Lucy.
So you were asking the question, why Germany, which is amazing by itself, but I want to, first of all, let's try to look at it in let's say 5 years. You know what, not even 5 years, 2 years from now, after they're getting the green light or the green card or their passports or their citizenship. What will happen then? What will happen about integration? What will happen about their education, about the culture? Is there any plan for this?
Well, I think that's the question Germany is at large avoiding right now. It's telling the world, or the rest of Europe, it needs to set a humane example for letting the migrants in, but we don't seem to be hearing from any German officials of an official plan of how to integrate them within society, within German society. And I think that's what we've learned from the past recent years that we've seen in Europe with the clashes that have been between Europeans and migrants, that this is the answer to migrant life in a different country.
Of course.
Immersion within the culture, and we've seen this in France recently.
Yeah, but what happens when the immigrants don't want to integrate? Because usually what we are seeing, this is not a second generation that has been living in Europe. This is a first generation coming from a totally different culture and wants to live in Europe, which is a totally different culture than his.
That's right. Their main objective, Syrians, more so than any other immigrants that are coming to Europe right now, their first motive is to flee the IS, is to flee war, is to flee hardship, economic and security hardship. They're not coming to Europe in order to immerse themselves in the country. Many of them have their own religious lifestyle, which they'd like to keep. Now, what we've seen in Europe in recent years is that Europe has allowed this. France is a prime example, where migrants have been living for several generations separately within their own lives, and now France is dealing with an influx of immigrants who have been there for 2 or 3 generations with views and prospects on life and security, which France does not know how to handle anymore.
If we're looking at Germany, Germany maybe has a good example for it, because the Turks that immigrated to Germany managed to integrate in a really good way. Although in some parts when you're traveling to Germany, you can see that not so much, but they managed to integrate.
That's right. I mean, Germany has a very complex history with immigration, of course. World War II was what started the whole trend of immigration in the 20th century. But I think the main worry right now with what we're seeing with the migrant crisis at this time is that the influx of migrants into Germany is really empowering the extreme right wing within the country. We're seeing more attacks in certain parts in Germany of extreme right-wingers against migrants. Now that in itself leads to a vicious circle where the migrants are more frustrated, more isolated, and in a few years from now it could erupt within Germany.
Yes, and with all Europe going more to the right, this doesn't seem like a bright future. Ayman Sikseck, thank you very, very much for this. Thank you.